Welcome to the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. I'm John, and I'm seated next to my best friend and awesome wife of 36 years, and one of us is adopting a child.
I think we both have brought children into this family.
You think so?
I do.
Well, we're going to talk about a 33-year-old that we're adopting. The entire family.
We're not really adopting her.
Well, but the entire family is adopting her. We'll get to that in a little bit. So some of our relatives back home and some of the people I work with
They
have
don't
been asking.
understand.
So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, let's chat a little while before we get to our subject on that episode. Our last episode was a month ago, Suzanne.
Really?
Yeah, it was a month ago, and we have lots to talk about since then.
What?
Well, I mean, number one, we've had a busy IndyCar season this past month.
We have, definitely.
And I just think about the different things we did. Toronto was right after our last podcast, and at Toronto, it's where Rinus VK, who is the driver that
That's
I get to
right.
work with, and the Dale Coyne Racing Team came in second at that race.
I know, pretty
And
exciting.
It was pretty exciting.
I love a
And
podium win.
I know. Well, it was great strategy, worked out well. Kiffin Simpson was third on the podium, and it was new for him because he's a rookie. And Rinus has won a race before, so it was close to get another win there, and he's had other podiums. But he's really punching above his weight.
He is, and he's ranking in some points.
He is ranking in some points. It's last year, Dale Coyne Racing did not enter. If you're not an IndyCar person, you probably don't understand this, but the top 22 drivers who have charters get to earn $1 million, $1.2 million bonus. And last year, Rinus did that for Ed Carpenter Racing, but now he's racing for Dale Coyne Racing, which is who I'm helping out. And they did not have a charter, or they do not have the leader circle points. And so Rinus is doing that, and so it's really great for the team. It's just fun to see. But we were in Toronto, then we went to Laguna Seca, and I'm trying to think
All those
went
West
to
Coast
Monterey.
races that I don't get to go to.
Yeah, we went to Monterey, which was a lot of fun, and then Portland this past weekend, which is one of the reasons why I'm wearing the logo here, the BitNow.com Grand Prix of Portland, which was a lot of fun, and it's good to be back, though. We've had a great summer. I mean,
It's been so busy, like more busy than usual.
and the kids, I mean, not our kids, but like the kids in Fishers and Noblesville and all around us are back in school.
They are.
College kids are all heading back.
That's crazy to see school buses out right now when
It
it's
is.
like 90 degrees.
You know, it's fun though.
You know
'cause
how I feel about that.
I do. But there are certain things we love about the summer, and we did a whole episode on the summer. But
That's right.
I just got to highlight. I mean, 8 weeks. It just ended, which makes me feel like it's the end of summer. But for 8 weeks, every single week, we got like 15 peaches from the peach truck every Thursday.
I know, and they're done.
And you made peach salsa, and you made peach like syrup for my ice cream. And you made
And
peach muffins,
applesauce,
and
peach
pound
applesauce.
cake, and these peaches from the peach truck are not cheap. But it's like
I was resourceful though.
You were resourceful, but every now and then, just in the middle of the night, I'd be like looking at that peach, going, "I have to have it."
I know.
Like, bite into it and cut it
just
up.
to eat them right off of the counter.
And we're still enjoying.
Delightful.
So we also have a membership, CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture at the Teeter Farm. So every
Yeah, we've
Thursday,
talked about that.
Yeah, we drive up there and get our vegetables. What's been some of the things you've liked this year out of besides the flower and the lavender and all?
I
that?
love it when they have like you can take 12 stems or something like that. That's my favorite. But
I love the okra.
we haven't had okra this year, and I love the tomatillos, and I got my
I do like
first little basket thing of them last week. So I'm hoping, actually no, week before last. So I'm hoping that this week maybe we've got some more of those because they're not quite enough to make tomatillo sauce, but I can do it if I get one more little container.
We love summer. And I think another one of the highlights is our front porch sitting when I'm in town, just sitting up front and smoking a
It's
cigar
just
and you
been
having a glass of
super
wine.
hot.
But it's really fun. We have a couple of extra chairs there. So when we have enough people who come and sit, I don't know, a month or so ago, I had two of my guy friends come over, and then another friend came down, and Bill, our neighbor, came down. And it's just, there's nothing better than sitting on our front porch. We are covered in corn right now, which means we can't see any of our neighbors because the corn's got to be 8 feet tall across
And
the
it's
street.
sweating.
It is sweating. If you don't know what a corn sweat is, you might want to come visit us in Indiana, but evidently corn sweats.
And I think that's why it's so hot on the front porch.
Yep. We may look like farmers. We have no idea what they're doing, but
Well, I
evidently
had
the
to
corn
figure out
across
what the corn
street-
sweating was because that was I had to figure out who was as hot as I am, and it is the corn. The corn is as hot as I am, and it's making me hot. It's making me so hot. It sweats and puts moisture into the air, and then the moisture just sits there. So it's like so humid. It's so humid and hot.
It is, but we do love.
But I don't want summer to leave.
No, and we have the corn. So when the corn's high, we can't see any of our neighbors. When they plant soybeans across the field, we've got 150 acres or so right across from us, and so
not us.
That's but that's where the farmer is.
Yeah,
and we get to watch beautiful sunsets over it and all that kind of stuff. And when they do soybeans, we get to see our neighbors. But when their corn's up, it's like a wall, an 8-foot wall. But anyway, we love our front porch sitting, and we had a great trip. You and I got to escape for just a weekend. We went to Iowa.
I'll take what I can get.
I know we went to Iowa, went to Nebraska, went all the way to Nebraska, 15 hours or 14 hours, whatever it was, to celebrate our friend Sarah Quinn's 40th birthday.
That we did.
She's awesome. And our cowboy buddies are absolutely, I may give Ricky Quinn a hard time, but man, those two know how to raise kids. They're doing an amazing job with the boys.
What a life they've got out there.
They've got an incredible life out there. And the boys are absolutely incredible. And they're just sweet kids. And just everybody that I've met through Ricky and Sarah are just great people. Ryan and Laura came from California. And
it was super fun. I enjoyed it.
It was great. Ryan Brand didn't really care too much for Ricky, so he didn't show up. But
and if you're not Ryan Brand, you don't know what all that means.
Actually, it's because his wife was on a girls' cruise, and he was up at his mom's, and he wanted to come.
Didn't get to come.
Anyway, long story short, had a great time. But we made it our own trip because we got to stop in Omaha and have a date night, that great little place. And I have a friend that I went to college with that told me some great places to hang out. We stayed downtown in that old market district.
It was really fun because it was someplace different.
And one of us
you don't really go, hey, let's go to Omaha.
I know. It was
for
cool,
the weekend.
Though. It was very cool. But one of us likes romantic comedies and romance movies and romance
I wonder
books.
which one that is.
Anyway, Nicholas Sparks type of guys. But
the sensitive man.
So we stopped at the book Robert James Waller wrote on the bridges of Madison County, and we stopped in Winterset, Iowa.
Yeah, but you planned it out, like you wanted to go there, and you were excited to tell me about it. And then I wasn't super excited about the movie because I don't love that movie.
I know. I was all excited because it's a cool book and a great movie and all that kind of stuff.
But you didn't remember that it was about
adultery.
Fidelity.
I know. But what was funny was I planned this little trip. I was like, oh, we're going to watch a movie on the way there. And
I mean, it is a good movie.
And you're like, I don't really like that movie. But we went. We had a great time in the Winterset. We reenacted a scene from the film. It was fun.
It was super fun.
But no, and then after that, I did a quick road trip to Chicago with Julianne, Manchester United, which is
I forgot about that.
Which is if you don't look at the record, I can say that Manchester United is a great football club. They haven't been very good, and the new season starts on Sunday. So
I didn't even know the season ended already.
Yeah, it ended. The game that I went to in Chicago was what's known as a friendly. No, it's like a preseason. So the game that I took Julianne to up in Chicago, was a friendly. And so we went up there.
I don't know what that
we had a great time. Julianne got a new
ball.
jersey. She absolutely had a great time with all the guys. There are certain guys I had to keep away from her.
What?
Yeah, there are certain guys I don't really trust in that group.
She's naive.
She's a little naive, and I think a couple of those guys might be either in the witness protection program or might not pass child protection.
Oh, honey.
Well, you've met Brian Brown.
I love him. You stop.
Okay, sorry.
That's rude.
And then the last thing that I really had a great time, and you weren't there for me, but I did bring you gifts, was the Encounter Conference, the Encounter Ministries Conference that I went to on the way up to Toronto. And I've not really talked about the Encounter School of Ministry, but I just finished a 2-year program called the Encounter School of Ministry. It's specifically kind of gifts of the Holy Spirit, things like praying for people with healing and having prophetic words and all these gifts of the Holy Spirit, but it's done under the auspices or confines or the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And so it's kind of like everything that you and I grew up with, especially you who grew up with.
Especially me.
And the Assemblies of God, and then going to Evangelical University in Springfield, Missouri. And it's just been fantastic. And I've really found a really neat group there. I get to join the little teaching team here in Indianapolis, so I was invited to do that. I'm excited about that. And I just think about my friend Mark Koppel. When I became Catholic, Mark was the one Christian friend who, he and I went to Oral Roberts University together.
He encouraged you?
No, the opposite.
He didn't want you to be Catholic? I didn't know that.
He didn't discourage me. He asked me a probing question and said, John, after knowing everything that you know about the gifts of the Holy Spirit, how can you become Catholic?
Yeah, I can't tell you I didn't think of that either.
Well, but then when you go into it, you realize that the Catholic Church and the teachings of the Catholic Church and the history of not just the Catholic Church, the Church in general. I mean, it's the entire history of the Catholic Church. The Holy Spirit has been moving and been outpouring, and you have saints and stories that you sit there and go, oh my gosh, that like what this saint is known for doing would be even too far out for some of your Assemblies of God or Pentecostal friends, because
I doubt that.
Oh no. Well, no. I mean,
I don't know about that.
I'm not prepared to talk about this at depth, but the whole thing.
Then let's not do it.
Well, no, but you know the Texas Bluebonnets.
Oh yeah, you did tell me the story.
It's after a nun.
Yeah.
Who
it is interesting.
Who brought an entire Indian tribe in New Mexico to faith. She shared Jesus. The entire tribe became faith believers, believed in Jesus, believed in God. And turns out she was known for being a nun in blue. And turns out that nun was in a cloistered convent in France and never traveled across the ocean. She appeared to those Indians. And so, or as we say now, Native Americans. But she appeared to those in New Mexico.
To be politically correct.
No, but that's one of those things. Like if you shared that in like an Assemblies of God church, I'd be like, hey, that's a little far out for me.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I think they'd latch onto that.
So we've had a great summer. I'm kind of excited about two things this week. The first thing being the last month, you and I have taken a comedy class together. And 4 years ago, when it was our 32nd anniversary, we did a comedy showcase. We did a comedy class, and we performed it at the Crackers Comedy Club with a lot of our friends. And that was a lot of fun. And then they had
you sort of pushed me into it.
I did, but they have a second level class. It's a practicum where you can work on your set. Yeah, but then you go through 4 weeks, and it's really cool. Over in Carmel, the Center for Performing Arts has such incredible programming. Not only do they bring in great shows at the Palladium and in those various theaters over there, but they have all kinds of different rehearsal rooms and things like this. And one of their most popular classes is the Introduction to Stand-Up Comedy. And then this is their second time they've done a practicum for advanced people to come back and work on their set. Well, the teacher who's teaching it is a professional comedian. His name's Matt Alano Martin. Fantastic. He hosts down in Bloomington all the time at the Comedy Attic. Really, really good. He was not teaching. He was taking care of his father when we went through the class the first time.
Yeah, so we didn't have him on his normal...
Yeah, in his normal rotation. We had another professional comedian by the name of Dwight Simmons, and Dwight is awesome. He's hilarious. He writes for the Bob and Tom show and all kinds of different things. And these guys have like specials and like recordings and
albums.
They're professional touring type of comedians. And anyway, we signed up for the class, and I reached out to Matt and I said, hey, instead of doing individual sets, how would you feel if my wife and I did a combination set?
Again, you just pushed me right into that.
Well,
didn't ask me about it or anything. Well, you just said, I think this is good and this is what we're going to do.
I did it. Did I invite you to the first time, or did I just force you into the first time?
You pretty much just forced me into it.
And were you great? You were fantastic. You were the headline of the whole show. So you're giving me a hard time, but you enjoyed it, and it was a great experience.
I enjoyed it, but it stressed me out.
This situation stresses you out even more. We watched George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Yes.
So everybody who knows who they are.
We've had an argument about that, by the way.
We have. But the funny thing is that they make it look so easy. And Matt was like, it's really, really tough to do a stand-up act together. And he gave us 2 examples of 2 brothers. One was twin brothers that did it, and another one, 2 comedians. But we thought...
Like, there is nobody... Everybody wants to be a stand-up comedian. There's a dime... they're a dime a dozen.
There's one special where 2 comedians... He does his set, she does her set, and at the end they come together and they like do crowd work, like they bring people up and talk about their marriage.
You know what? That's kind of like what they did on the on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour with all 4 of those comedians, and then they all came back at the end. Jeff Foxworthy and Ron White and all those guys.
We are this Friday night having a comedy show, and a couple of our friends are coming. The tickets are only $10, and by the time you watch this, it'll be over with. But
and we will have slayed.
We will have slayed it. We will have been already invited to do one of those dry bar comedy specials and the Netflix special and stuff. No.
The teacher did ask us
what our goal was.
Yeah. And I was like, are we supposed to have a goal? Because my goal is to get through the day on the regular, just whatever that is.
The 5 or 6 of you that listen to the Marry Your Best Friend podcast.
Bedfriend. Yeah, we are bed friends.
We are bed friends. Not as often as I'd like to, but I have been challenged by Matt to figure out what we want to do together.
Sweating.
And our short-term goal is the class gave us a 5-minute set that we can do. And it's okay.
But
and then I've written
here's
2
the
others.
deal. The deal is you're supposed to have 5 minutes, like each person has 5 minutes, except for there's 2 of us and we still have to keep it tight at 5 minutes.
Well,
and we're over a minute and a half.
Yeah, but the
a minute
reason
30?
behind this is if you sign up for an open mic night at any comedy club across America.
Right. We've learned a lot about the business side
They're going
of
to give you
it.
3 minutes. You get 3 minutes to go up there and do your set, and they will cut the mic off at 3:15.
Unless you're killing it, and then they might give you 30
3:20,
seconds.
maybe.
Yeah.
But then after you've done an open mic, then they'll give you 5 minutes, and you can do 5 minutes. And then after you kill it, like time and time again with different 5-minute sets, then they may give you 7 or 10 or whatever that is.
I mean,
and
it's
like
a
these
very
open mic
short-
nights, they have like 20, 25 performers on an evening.
Well, the guy from Helium was saying that he may have 200 people sign up for open mic,
an open mic night, and he
with
can have
only
20
25 slots.
And there are 5
you've
of
got to
those.
put ringers in there too.
Yeah, he says there are 5 of those that are usually really good comedians who are just trying out new material because nobody wants to go to a show that's all beginners. And so, what's funny was the first time we did the comedy class, we each learned a 5-minute set, and open mic nights were 3 minutes. Well, I was able to convince the owner of the Crackers Club to let us have 5 minutes because
that's what I had memorized.
That's what I memorized. But no, she could care less what we had memorized. What she cared about was the fact that I promised I would sell 60 tickets.
Yeah, and we packed the place out, and it was all of our friends except for just a few
And
people. But
thankfully, our friends were drinking because it made it fun.
and eating and doing all the fun things, and
No, but the whole thing, if you
laughed
are
and
wanting
clapped.
to do stand-up comedy, there's, so like Suzanne said, 200 people are trying for basically 20 slots every single week. When you do an open mic night, they're also expecting you to bring 2 to 6 people to sit in the crowd.
they ask, unless you're an out-of-town comedian, they ask you to
and part of that
bring
is
people.
They want people in the crowd to actually laugh at jokes because the comedians will tell you about showing up to a room and there's like 5 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the comedians on an open mic night are sitting there listening, they're not really listening. They're
working on
doing
their own
thing.
set. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm excited about the comedy show this Friday. We are going to see how it works. We have a 5-minute set that's the 2 of us together on stage. And it's very similar format to the podcast. It's, hi, I'm John. This is my beautiful wife of 36 years, Suzanne, and yada, yada, yada. And so
he
we're going to
wrote
go.
all the stuff that he gets mad that I don't know. Do
I
word for
wrote
word.
based on your material. So
Yes.
I'm like the Ken Abraham, our friend Ken who writes.
Yeah, okay.
Ken Abraham.
Ken Abraham. No, I don't think
Excuse
you're
me.
like Ken Abraham.
Ken Abraham has written like 15 New York Times bestsellers. He's the guy that wrote like Joel Osteen's
He's
Best
so
Lifestyle.
gentle.
He's-
You are absolutely not gentle.
He wrote Chuck Norris's book and Joe Gibbs' book and all these famous people. And he does it because he knows how to capture their voice. And it sounds like them. He listens to them and he writes in their
So
voice.
you're saying that this is what you
What I'm
did
saying
with the
is
copy
after
that I have?
After 36 years of hearing your voice, I think I know what you sound like.
Well,
And what's funny is the second set that I wrote, as I'm reading it to you, you're like, that actually happened. That actually happened.
because that was written in my voice. The first set was not written in my voice.
Okay,
I don't think.
All I know is I think after you've yelled at me, talked to me for 36 years, I know your voice. Okay, so great summer, great comedy show. The last thing, and I got to, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it behind us, but
Are we talking about that?
Yeah, right behind Suzanne. Point at
Lord.
them. I've been waiting for over a year for those pair of boots right there. So check out our social media. I've got a new pair of boots. Mama got a new pair of shoes.
No, Mama did not get a new pair of shoes. Mama didn't get a new purse. Mama didn't get a new ring. Mama got nothing.
Mama said, I want to know how much you spent on those boots. And I said, they were less than a handbag.
And I said, that's a lie.
No, it is not.
It has to be.
Okay, so real quick, if you're not following us on social media, I have for over 10 years wanted a pair of boots with a hula girl on them. And
That you have.
And 9 years ago, I paid a company.
That kills me that you actually
Paul
paid them.
Bond boots. Do not ever order from Paul Bond.
That
boots.
was it. They were terrible.
I sent them the money. I sent them the design. The guy said, "Oh yeah, let us work on this." They sent me some
10
designs
years,
back.
we still don't have the boot.
I still don't have the boot. And then the lady this week told me, "Well, we don't owe you anything because that's so long ago."
What?
And I know. But anyway, what's funny is like I've been wanting this hula pair of boots. Well, so I was at the NFR last year, and I'm walking down the aisle, and I meet this lady who has a company that I really like called Rocket Buster Boots out of Texas. Now, her boots are not typical cowboy boots. They're very kind of artistic designer type of boots.
They're so cool.
Well, they are. And what's funny about her is the first boot of hers that I saw, she has 2 boots. One was R2D2 and one was C3PO.
That's so cool.
And it was really cool. And I was like, those are really cool. But I said, I'm a little too cowboy for that. And I said, but I did tell her, I've been wanting a pair
Those are
of hula.
boots J. Daniel would wear.
I said, he would. but I told her, I said, I would totally love a hula girl on my boot. And she goes, well, we can do that. She said, I can sketch something out if you want me to. And I said, well, maybe like the hula girl sticker. And she goes, why a hula girl? And I said, oh, my mom. And so I showed her a picture of my mom. And she looked at it. She goes, oh, why don't I do that picture? I was like, that's funny. And she goes, can I keep the picture? And then I said, of course. And then I told her about the Moana Hotel, where Mom used to sell leis in front of the Moana Hotel as a little girl. Mom's Hawaiian name is Leilana. No,
No.
Leilana. There it is. Lena Ala.
Lena Ala.
There you go. Lena Ala. Her sister's name is Leilani.
Leilani, yes.
Her mom was known for making leis, and my mom's childhood was standing in front of the Moana Hotel selling the leis. Leilani, her sister. Now, Leilani, lei is the heavenly, the flower. Leilani means heavenly flower, and I think it's appropriate because her sister is the one that drowned when she was 2, and Leilani is a pretty name for that.
I thought there were 5.
I thought she was 3 or 5, but whenever it was, she drowned on the beach while she and Mom were playing. But and then when Pearl Harbor happened, my mom was 9 that Sunday morning, and you know the story if you know us. She ran across the street into the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church ended up providing schooling for her, and somebody paid for her schooling, Catholic schooling and things. But I shared those 2 things with the lady from Rocket Buster Boots, the owner. And she did a drawing, and she says, how about this? And she had found a picture of the Moana Hotel.
You didn't send her those?
I sent her the picture of like what the Moana looks like now.
Yeah.
And then I told her about the Catholic Church.
You didn't get that stuff at the antique place when we were there?
Some of them, yeah. And so then she saw a picture of the Catholic Church, what it used to look like. And so she sketched it out. And so on that pair of boots right behind me is my mother on the boots. And you can look at Instagram or Facebook and see the pictures of it. But my mother's picture is on the boot. And she duplicated the picture on the other boot. And now I really love the thought of that being my mom's sister and the 2 of them together dancing. And then on the back of the boot is the Moana Hotel, and the back of the boot is the Catholic Church. So everywhere I walk in those boots, I'll carry my mother's story with me. So I'm very excited about that. We're still trying to figure out a way to honor your mother.
What's next on your list?
Next on our list is, so anyway, comedy show we're excited about Friday. The boots, I told you about that. So the topic tonight, adoption. And also family sharing and things of that nature. So I'll begin this by talking about my friend Robert Workman. You remember Robert Workman founded Goal Zero and founded Bare Bones Living.
Yeah.
You know the cricket machine, that was his invention too.
I didn't know that.
Yep, the cricket machine. He sold that to Michaels, and that's how he...
No kidding.
Yeah, then he started Goal Zero to provide power to the Congo and these villages in Congo, because light changes things and power changes things. Anyway, he said to me one time, he says, John, everybody in humanity wants 3 things. They want to be clean, they want to be comfortable, and they want to be connected. And connected can mean internet connection, but connection really is the family connection and being connected to other people. And we have had friends ask us, and we have had your family ask us, and different people like, wait, what's going on? Why is this girl online saying that she's being adopted by you? And so to kind of just give everybody a story, first off, going back, you were raised in a household where your mom had an open house. You had people. First off, I've always said that you're related to half of Fort Worth. You're not really related to half of Fort Worth, but half of Fort Worth thinks they're related to you.
Yeah,
they're distant cousins, and they're people you went to church with, and like Kay Ball felt like a family member to you. Lita, who worked with your dad and your mom, she was family to you guys. Andre Crouch lived at your house
for a lot of the time.
Dan and Becky Smith, when they moved to town, you guys adopted them, and your mom adopted Shaler.
She always says that he is her decided grandchild.
Yeah. And so you were raised in a household where your mom adopted everybody.
There were so many people that would come and stay, like live at our house.
Steve Thompson, Marty.
For an interim, just like while they were finishing seminary, or Mavs Man, the guy who was Mavs Man. Scotty from Mavs Man. Yeah, he was, the mascot for the Dallas Mavericks. He lived with us for months, He
was from Zimbabwe.
And it was just like everybody was welcome. the door was, if you knew the code to the
Kiwanis
garage.
is family.
Yeah.
You go through this whole list. And so what's really funny is I have to tell one story. Your mom worked at the Dallas Mavericks for 25, 28 years, however long it was.
Yeah.
There was a player who played for the Dallas Mavericks who got drafted. His name was Leon Smith from Chicago.
I can't believe you remember his name. I sure know.
Oh my gosh. 7 foot tall, African-American guy from the streets of Chicago.
Huge guy.
He was a ward of the state, which meant like he didn't have parents. He had a foster parent. And evidently his foster parents weren't the greatest people. They were kind of doing it for the money and the AAU money and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, he gets drafted. And
poor guy has no
and your mom
sense of what to do. He has money for the first time.
Before we get to Leon Smith, we should say your mom's first adoptee was Dirk Nowitzki.
Yes.
She saw a 7 foot German who was 6 time zones away from
19 years old.
Yeah, and she saw him being 6 time
all
zones
by
away from his
himself.
mom, so she adopted him. And literally, his family calls her his American mother. Like, your mom adopted Dirk Nowitzki. But Leon was a different thing. There was a time when, in the press, he had pulled a gun on his girlfriend, and he was gone. Like, nobody at the Mavericks knew where he was. The sports radio.
They were looking for him,
they had police
actively looking for him.
They had FBI looking for him. The Chicago police were looking for him. Dallas police were looking for him. The NBA said, we have no idea where this Leon Smith is. And the next day was Thanksgiving. And what happens, but there's a knock at the door, and we open the door.
My whole family's there.
We open the door on Thanksgiving, and there's a 7 foot tall black guy out front. And I look at him, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Leon. Theta said I could have dinner." And I'm like, only your mom could find some guy under a bridge.
Yeah.
The police don't know where he is, but your mom knew where he was.
Mom knew where he was, and she knew he was hungry.
And she knew he needed to have Thanksgiving dinner with the family.
Yep.
So it's interesting because your mom had an open house. My dad, he may not have had an open house, but my dad was a giver. At his funeral,
he really was.
At his funeral, we met all these kids from high school when he was a substitute teacher that he gave them lunch money. Like, one of the guys came up and said, I was a member of your dad's lunch group. What does that mean? Well, he paid for our lunch. Mm-hmm. And I think about
because where they lived,
East Texas.
It was not, you either were very, very wealthy and that was your second home, like your vacation house, your weekend house, or you were like on the poverty line. I mean, there was really not an
when my dad
in-between.
went to become a substitute teacher there, he said that a lot of their goals were to work at Walmart or be a truck driver.
Yeah.
And so here comes a guy who traveled to every continent and traveled in 50 countries and told great stories. But
and military guys. So he expected stuff out of him.
Yeah, he was a military guy. But what's funny is Trey, I've shared this story before. My dad's best friend, the last part of his life, was a guy named Trey, who he met when he was like in 5th grade or 6th grade. And my dad just loved this kid and taught him how to salute. And anyway, Trey ended up going to the military because he wanted to be like my dad. And when he got out of the military, started his own business, and makes tons of money doing lawns and all this kind of stuff, landscaping and lawn. And he was my dad's best friend. And he ended up buying the house across the street from where mom and dad lived after he passed, just so he could be with them. But he's family to my parents.
Absolutely.
And Maggie, my Lord, one of his favorite high school kids is this beautiful girl named Maggie who it's hard being a single mom with active kids and having a job and all that kind of stuff. And come to find out, dad always kind of supported her. Mm-hmm. And anytime she actually asks and says, "Hey, I could use a little help this month," it's a joy to extend what my dad would have done without even thinking about it. Now, my mom doesn't listen to this podcast, so we can tell the story. But Priscilla, who cleaned their house every week.
Oh, yeah.
She would charge like whatever she charged.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
But dad would always have $100 bill
that he would slide her.
He had one place on his desk where he could leave it that he had said, "Now, when it's sitting there, that's for you." And so when dad was dying of cancer, hospice is in there. He would still make sure that I went to the bank and got money out of his account so that Priscilla
had
the money.
her $100.
And but anyway, so I'm thinking about that. It's now our turn. I mean, we've been married for 36 years. We've got kids. We've known this girl that we are inviting into our family since she was in 4-H as a young kid. We moved here 21 years ago, and she was in 4-H as like an 11 or 12-year-old.
We met her when she was 12, I think.
Yeah, and she was in the same barn as John Andrew and Jay Daniel. We watched her do 4-H.
Headless.
I've been doing Headless Horseman. Right, I'm no longer doing Headless Horseman. What's funny about her is she was doing Headless Horseman as a writer, and I asked her if she would mind helping out on the groundwork, and she was like, "I can't do that." And I said, "Yes, you can." And then I said, "Why don't you be the grounds person and be in charge? I'll pay you to be operations manager." She said, "I don't like people." I said, "It's okay. You do it."
She really doesn't like people.
And then after that, she goes, "You pick horrible writers. They're so-and-so, and they're not good. They're not good." And I said, "Well, Karis, why don't you pick them next year And so she helped out the auditions and she picked the different people. And then I said, I'll just show up and just pay everybody, and you can run the show. And then the next year, so this is our third year we're working together, we had a meeting at Conner Prairie where we were supposed to be going over the schedule and everything else. And I might have missed that meeting. And she called, she was all mad. You missed the meeting. They expect me to do everything. I said, that's great, Karis. And so she was in charge of Headless Horseman. This is her third year, second year doing it all by herself.
And this will be her 21st year working
as a writer and everything else. But she's fantastic. So we've known her forever. Now, Karis, she can tell her story on her own. If you're friends, you can know. But for our family to hear us, Karis has a mother that was not really in a position to raise her. So she was adopted and raised by a set of grandparents. And I've been thinking about how hard it would be if, first off, no grandparent should be raising their grandkids. But like if John Andrew and Jay Daniel, if something happened to you and I, and my dad had to raise John Andrew and Jay Daniel with no understanding of the autism spectrum, with no understanding of just how they communicate and their things, my dad would probably be too harsh on them. He would pull out the belt and spank them. He would tell them, just grow up, get over it.
There's
a generational difference for people who have kids on the autism spectrum. And Karis has struggled with things. I mean, we're very open about positive mental health. She fits into our family just like Julianne with her anxiety. She's just like John Andrew with explosive temper and things of that nature. Just like Jay Daniel as it relates to, only seeing black and white and different things. DNA-wise, she's really close to being a Stewart.
Yeah. Sometimes we look at each other and I go, how did I not actually give birth to you? You were so much like...
And what's funny about her is
our family.
Karis, that's not her given name. She chose the name Karis Rise. Reese. I say Karis Rise because I like a phoenix rising. But yes, Karis Reese. Very Irish she chose. And she originally changed her last name. She originally changed her last name to one of her favorite teachers, and
she wasn't going to change it permanently.
But I'm just saying that's an honor to a teacher who made an impact on you. But what Karis has not really had was just a family that just accepted her with unconditional love and treats you as normal. Now, those of you that are in a family, those of you that are single, like my friend Mark Koppel, congratulations, you've almost made it.
You made it.
Yeah. But those who have
you can do
kids,
what you want.
Every family has a rhythm. Every family has, and we argue, we fuss, we love each other. We are a family. I mean, we go through everything together. We
blow up.
We forgive each other. We go on trips together. We do everything. And
we are together far too much.
Sweet girl has never had a family to just embrace her and just love her. And so,
I think she would be okay with me saying this, that her upbringing was traumatic.
Yeah.
It wasn't just...
As was my mother's.
Yes, very much so. And it was very much like... It was not just a generational thing.
Yeah.
Her childhood was extremely traumatic. And because of that, suppression of the autism where she was never... acknowledged or recognized as being on the spectrum, nobody understood anything like that, then that just accelerated other things and personality traits that she is trying so hard to overcome. And she's 33, and so it's not like she's 17 years old. And
well, it's not like we're adopting a 3-year-old or 4-year-old. She's grown. She's got a life. We're not like officially adopting.
Yeah, we're not like doing it. No, I don't know how to explain it.
So she changed her first name, and she, not changed it officially, but she changed her.
Well, she's going to. We turned her papers in.
Right, but she changed her last name to honor a teacher. And I think anytime we put adults up on a pedestal or platform, they're going to let us down. I mean, in our faith, we know the only thing that is not going to let us down is our faith in Christ and things of that nature.
Which she's really growing in as well,
and
which
that's
is a whole new thing.
But what I'm talking about here is humans let humans down. We let people down all the time. I let you down. I know you don't think I do, but I do.
You mean earlier today?
Well, about an hour ago. But
I'm not kidding.
Humans let each other down. But the whole thing here is we told her when she was hurting, she had a breakup in a relationship, and we said, just bring your horses to our house, and we've got an extra guest room. You're welcome to be here. Like, you're welcome to be part of our family. And she was like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. I was like, no, you're not a burden. You're a family. We've known you for 20 plus years.
She has house set for us. Yes. She's run our
kids.
I said to her, she's always present, but she was not
and I said intertwined. I said, tell Karis she can always be a Stewart. I kind of threw that out there to saying, if she wants to be part of something, she can always be a steward. Make her a steward. And you said that to her, and what was her reaction?
She was very quiet. And then she told me later, she said that was probably the most, I can't even think of the word, the most incredible thing that anyone had ever said to her. And that she went to bed and she wept and was like, no one's ever wanted me like that. They've never said.
I don't want my own kids. Let's make that clear. But it reminds me, like when Jay Daniel, do you remember when Jay Daniel and John Andrew got baptized in the Methodist Church?
I just told her story the other day.
So we take the boys to get baptized in the Methodist Church. We're First United Methodist Church in Grapevine. And so we take them there, and Jay Daniel was very scared.
We bought him a book first.
Yeah, we bought him a book.
And the whole book was
about joining Jesus, joining God's family, being a member of God's family. And Jay Daniel started crying, and he was upset. He goes, but I don't want to join God's family. I like my family.
Why? I don't want another family.
Yeah. And so the thing with her is she's just part of our family now, and we want her there. You have other people who call you mom. I mean, Sam has a mom who she calls Carol.
Yeah.
So Sam
and a good mom.
Yeah,
I mean,
Sam
she's not in a bad situation, but she calls me mom.
When Sam went to her first Indy 500, she goes, "It's good to be a steward," and so she started calling you mom, and her mom's Carol, and they're just awesome people. Whenever I called my friend Gail, who is one of my just favorite women in this world. I called Gail and I said, "Hey, we're adopting a 33-year-old," and she was like, "No fair! I've been wanting to be a steward for like 10 years." And I was like, "Come on, Gail, you can be a steward." But
I think there's a difference between, somebody. She was told when she was young that she was being adopted so that they could finally get some money from the state.
Yeah.
When you're in that situation, and there's a difference between being adopted,
sure there is,
in a sense, and then being accepted into somebody's family. And I think that's what we're doing more than adopting, is that we're accepting her into our family.
Well, I think this broadens the whole thing. It's like, then we start thinking about, okay, so Karis is not the only one we're adopting. We have like a couple that we like, Brian and Jessica Brown. They moved.
Love
He's from
them.
the UK. She's from Canada. They had their first Thanksgiving dinner ever with us because they're new American residents.
Oh, they're coming this year too.
We've adopted them. Yeah, it's like
I love them.
I just think they're family, and their son and their daughter and their new daughter Harper. It's like I choose them to be our family, whether they want us to or not. We're going to treat them like family. There are certain, like the Troutman girls. I would adopt all those girls.
I love. Well, we just love the Troutmans.
We do love the Troutmans, but like if Scott and Carrie got rid of them, I'd adopt all four of those girls.
They're all grown too,
And
married,
like your friend
pregnant
Sherry,
and having babies.
Your friend Sherry, I'd adopt that Charlotte in a heartbeat. I wouldn't adopt Samantha because she's too smart.
No, Savannah is way too smart.
Savannah's too smart. She'd figure me out pretty quick. But Charlotte, I'd adopt. Anyway, so the other part of adoption, I was just thinking about this today, and it's really, the theme here is to encourage you as a listener to expand your definition of family. We've both been blessed also with great mentors in our life. I was thinking through, there are three people who really, I would say, are mentors. They won't accept it, but I will say, like, the first one was really, Roland Lundy at Word. Roland knew your mom. Roland was the CEO of Word. We had when I was in my 20s, and we would have our conversations at like 7:30 in the morning or play golf or things like that. He really was one of the greatest leaders that I've ever worked around.
And you got to understand how young we were at the time.
23,
Holy
24,
cow,
yeah.
we were like Julianne's age.
But
I mean, that is so young.
I enjoyed him so much, but he continues to foster. Even though he's no longer the CEO, there's an alumni group, and everybody still respects him as the CEO. We had a gathering. Whenever somebody is sick, whenever somebody passes, he still takes that leadership role.
Yep.
And if I could ever be a leader like Roland Lundy, I've always wanted to be. There were 5 times that I should have been fired at Word.
Yeah.
And there were 5
One
times.
really big time.
Well, multiple times. But there were 5 times I should have been fired at Word, and Roland kept me. And he said, "John," he goes, "I draw a line in the sand. You can choose to step forward or step back." And he goes, "Every single time you do, you step forward." And it's made me better, and it made me a better leader. And over the years, I always think what would Roland do and think through those things. Now, another mentor in my life, and it is feels like family, Papa Dill.
Yep.
Dill Driscoll hired me at Ignition. We got to know each other through racing, and he's the guy that created the Olympic torch relay. He's the guy that has done all these global events.
I think you just talked about him in the last episode.
I did, but Dill, to me, because I did a road trip with Dill. But I get to talk to him pretty much every day, and I send him a prayer every day. He is 72 and still cranking. And
he's cranking it.
I don't think I'm ever going to retire, and I hope to be like Dill because he's doing a big thing next year. I can't announce it yet, but it's a massive, massive thing for the celebration of the 250th anniversary for the country. It's just a Dill project. And you sit there and go, who else could do this? And when he retired and sold Ignition, I got him involved with Carry the Load, which Jack First had told me about. And since I introduced him to that, guess what? Dill's raised over $50 million for those people.
Wow.
$50 million. We've made like $100,000 since then, but Dill, and then the last one that I have to just mention as a mentor who poured into my life is Brad Farmer. The 9 years I worked at the Boy Scouts of America, the assistant chief, Brad, really showed me what it was like to be a leader who cared for your people.
Yeah, that is definitely Brad.
He did a thing, and what's funny is when I first met Brad, he didn't want anything to do with me. I was being forced on him by one of the board members, and then we became very, very close friends. And Brad did things like write thank you notes.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that before.
Brad, Tim Bouchard, who works with me, told me that when he was in the field, he got a letter from assistant chief, or he was the central region director at that time. And he says, I still have that letter that Brad sent me.
I still have the one that he sent me, the first one.
And that's the other thing. So he would send you letters each year, basically saying, thanks for letting me work with your husband. And
thanks for letting him be on the road so much. Thank you for sharing him with us.
And
it was so kind.
How many bosses write a letter to their employee's spouse, and especially
handwritten letter,
especially
you,
who is a words of affirmation person, and he acknowledged the sacrifice that you made in order for me to travel. And as a nonprofit, there's not another nonprofit that I'd probably do that for, like the Scouts. I mean, we did travel a bunch and big sacrifice, but
no kidding.
But Brad absolutely was one of the best bosses I've had. He was very much of a coach. And things of that nature. And I was thinking about you.
I think you probably kind of decided to leave when Brad retired. It just wasn't.
I would have stayed if Stacy was going to replace him. The two buffoons who were like going to replace him that were like down the list. There's no way I was working for either one of those guys. One of them's been married like 4 times and everything. So I was like, I can't work for somebody I don't respect.
Yeah.
And boy, I had all the respect in the world for Brad and Diane. So I was thinking about your mentors because you had as a teacher probably one of the greatest. When you first got hired as a teacher, tell us that story of who you worked for and how that relationship.
We had been married. I don't know. What do you think?
A year,
6 months?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe a year. And I was finally interviewing to go into the classroom because at that time I was just doing.
When we got married, you had to finish up your degree and you were working.
Well, I had like a stupid Spanish class and a stupid math class that I had to do one semester.
And for some reason, you had to pass the ACT, if I remember correctly, too. But you had to do like 3 things for you to graduate. When we got married, you walked and got your
I got my diploma, but I still had
3 credits, 3 classes or something. Anyway,
2 classes
finished up at Lipscomb, took the ACT, all that stuff.
Yeah,
got your teacher certification.
As soon as we got to Nashville, I did that. And
the first year you worked at that kinder care and early childhood, and then you got your first job.
And then I got my first job.
And it was at a Baptist school, but the principal, Steve Durham, to this day is still one of your favorite human beings ever.
Absolutely. Like I still talk to him often.
But what made him a great boss? What made him like somebody who poured? And why were you different that he chose to pour his life into you? Because there are a lot of people out there like Karis, but we chose her just because she was the right one for us.
Yeah, I don't know because when I came on,
Steve, you're a piece of work?
I'm a piece of work. Yeah, I'm a whole lot of fun, is what I am. I was so fun in the '80s. No, I think that he was younger. He's exactly 10 years older than I am, and he had just come into.
And he's also a pastor's kid. His dad was a pastor, so you two both kind of
got that. We kind of had that in common, and he wanted change because he was young and he saw what the school had been, but he could see where the school was going, and they didn't even have a program, a drama program. And he said, I want that. I want that for these students. And, everything was new and I was bright and shiny and brand new. And excited at that point. I wanted to do all the things, and I don't know. We just.
And you did theater shows together and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah,
build
because
sets.
it was a small school.
And then somehow you became the teacher that went on the 8th grade trip with the kids too.
Several
went to
times.
DC and Southern California
Several
and all
times.
over.
Yeah.
You guys had a great time. Well, I think I have 7 things I want to talk about.
He's
real
come
quick.
to see us. He came to see
family.
us.
He's family.
He came to see us when we lived in Texas. He's come and stayed with us here. It's just every time he and Lynn come through town, if they are driving through, Indianapolis, they stop and see us. And it's just...
That's right. He's family.
I just love them all.
He's a great
I love the Durham
woodworker, even though
family.
he's never... I'm looking at this table, and it's like he hasn't made us anything, but he's still family. But
He's incredible.
So I'm going to talk about
woodworker.
7 quick things. You can before we close. And these are just points that I think we need to talk about. Since this show is really about adoption and, mentoring, the number one thing is expanding the definition of family. Emphasize that family isn't just about blood. It's about connection, trust, and mutual support. So that's really what it's about. And we talked about how we've been chosen family. When we moved to Nashville, Rhonda Hardwick adopted us. We became friends with Lisa and during that period, we had friends, but Rhonda looked out for us.
She did.
She was a rock, and I've always wanted you to be like Rhonda to other people.
And I think I have had really good examples in my life of people who have poured into us. I think I was telling Karis this yesterday, or something. I said, it's not just, we haven't just done this forever. We were young and stupid, and we had people pour into us and take us
gosh.
in and
Your mentor,
we lived so far away. We didn't really have, I think about when we were 22, 23, 24, we didn't have any family.
No, but when we
we
moved,
needed all those people.
and when we moved back to Texas, we had a mentor couple in Bobby and Dana. They saved our marriage.
Absolutely.
And what's funny is I had a friend recently say that they credit us with saving their marriage, and I was like, he just said that, but he doesn't realize that means so much to me because somebody did that for us.
Right.
And they were a mentor couple. And what's funny about your whole family, that's my niece. Well, actually, I call Elise my niece, but in reality, your mom's cousin is Dana, and Elise is her daughter. So it'd be your second removed. I don't know where the collection is, but
it's
she's
all
my niece.
Yeah, it's
I
not
love
like
that girl like blood. But anyway, another thing it says here is your chosen family can be people who are far from home, like Brian and Jessica. They have wonderful parents. I've met them. They're awesome. They're far away. Single people who don't have anybody. Right now, Bill, who lost his wife, who's our neighbor down the street, you went to see him in the hospital. You check in on him. So it's like choosing these people. And especially those who've lost loved ones. How do we reach out to people who have lost a loved one and accept them and bring them in and make them family?
At their own pace. And I think that's important. Like with Bill last, I jumped right in and I said, hey, come for Thanksgiving or whatever,
He wasn't ready.
And he says, I'm just not going to do holidays this year because holidays was Jeanette's thing. And, he just wasn't ready yet, but he knew that he was welcome. And that's just what I always want. I just want people to feel welcome.
So our producer put in here, encourage listeners. That's you 3 out there. Encourage listeners to look for those on the fringes. A neighbor, a colleague, a church member, or friend who may crave belonging. I'll never forget going to, now, not a lot of churches do a Thanksgiving Day service. Eastern Star does one here, but when I was living in California, I went to church on the way. I'll never forget going to Thanksgiving service, and there's probably 800,000 people there. And Jack Hayford said, everybody stand up and sit down if you are going to your parents' house. Sit down if you're going to your friend's house. Sit down now. Everybody who has some place to go, just sit down. And you would see still some people standing. He goes, now those of you that are still standing, those around them, why don't you invite them to your dinner? And so every single person that was still standing got basically invited to somebody's table that Thanksgiving. And I was blown away because
that's incredible, but yet a little uncomfortable.
Well, it's uncomfortable, but the whole thing was, now if you didn't want, you could sit down. But the whole thing was, church members, you think there's a community, but there are a lot of people who are alone in church, who are coming to church alone. So the whole point is, look for people who are on the fringes, a neighbor, a colleague, church member, a friend who may crave belonging. Okay, number 2, simple invitations can change lives. Encourage small but meaningful gestures. Inviting someone to Sunday dinner. Like when somebody invites us to go out to dinner with them, or we need to do that more of just inviting people to go to dinner with us after church. Attending important life events with them. or simply reaching out with a text when you're thinking of them. Like I always think as soon as somebody comes in your mind, there's a reason why they're in your mind. Send them a text. You're going through a thing right now with one of your best guy friends, Brad. He's going through a difficult health challenge, and you think of him often, and you text him often. You guys have great conversations. So, I'm encouraging you as a listener, go do that. Also, talk about opening up your home, even for coffee or a front porch sit. Like, I'm never pleased with how our house looks sometimes because I may not think it's perfect. Well, no, it's just...
Well, of course it's not perfect because people live here.
I know people live here.
Lots of people live here.
And you go to show homes, they look fantastic, but...
Because nobody lives there.
I know. And when I walk into a hotel room, it's perfect. But...
Because you put everything in the closet.
But the whole thing is, when Liz, when Sherry, when anybody walks in that back door and avoids the dog attacking him and comes in and gets a cup of coffee or a cup of ice and puts a drink together, and you go on the front porch and sit, it doesn't matter if there's things in the sink.
Yeah.
And so open up your home, even if it's just for a cup of coffee or porch sit. It can be a lifeline for the lonely, displaced. Sometimes just you need to talk.
I think the best thing that I've done, not to toot my own horn, toot, but is that I've been very conscientious, or at least, been mindful of letting that back door be open. When people know us, they don't come to the front door.
Everybody goes to the back door.
Everybody goes to the back door, and it looks awful. The plants are dead. There's always cats.
Or maybe a Christmas tree on the back porch. You never know.
There's a Santa right now that I meant to put the trash can. I mean, it's just like, it's a hot mess. But if you know us and if you love us, that's where you go. You go to the back door. And I hate to say it, but most of the time it's not locked. People just come in.
Not at all. All right. So simple invitation can change lives. The other thing that I really was thinking about was investing in others pays dividends.
That's math.
It is. But, when you include others in your circle, it does as much for the adoptor as the adoptee.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Having, like in our situation right now, Karis join our family. Julianne has a new sister she gets to talk to. Jadine will get somebody who gets to pick him up from work, and they have a conversation on the way home.
And they're very similar.
John Andrew and Karis have already a fighting brother-sister relationship.
Well, they worked together forever.
They work together at the barn. They've ridden together, but they tag team taking care of the horses and different things. So it does pay dividends.
And
but it brings a fresh perspective. I will tell you. It says it brings fresh perspective, laughter, energy, and sometimes healing. Now, I have talked to Scott because my friends Scott and Tara, Tara's an attorney, a family attorney. Their gorgeous daughter, Athena, they adopted out of the foster system. Mm-hmm. She's awesome. But I talked to Scott because I said, was it hard on you to hear somebody call you dad that wasn't, the one you gave birth to? And, it's funny because Karis has never really known a father, and so she's
never had a father. Yeah.
So, but it's it's a little weird to me, but it's one of those things where it's something going. The dividend of having somebody who wants to be like. I showed up the other day, and she was all excited. She ran up and gave me a hug. My other kids didn't do that. They're all there. You didn't do that. The dog does it, but it does pay dividends, and.
I just want to say that we sat the kids down, though, individually.
We talked to each of them.
And we talked to each one of them and said, what are you thinking along this line? Like, how would you feel about this? And John Andrew was the first one I talked to, and he just had a huge smile on his face. And again, she had worked for us when we had the trail riding barn. She and John Andrew have been together all these years since he was in, 4th grade. Yeah. And he just got a big smile on his face, and he said, I think that's awesome. Yeah. And then each kid, I wanted to make sure that they were
well, like I said, one of us is adopting a child. It's our whole family is just embracing this. Yeah. And so, she might move on. She might find some wealthier family or something like that. But
I don't think so.
I don't either. But I do think that this is a conversation around mental health and physical health. And it's like, we've been blessed that there are several people that God has used us to help them at a time when they were looking at ending their life. Mm-hmm. And I never want anybody to be at that point of desperation.
Right.
And so if you're ever at that point of desperation, call us up. You can always be a steward. Okay. So the other one here is mentorship is a two-way street. this says, talk about being a mentor isn't just about teaching or providing, about learning from those you mentor. That's very true. Whenever you have a mentoring relationship, you're learning as much from that younger person as you're teaching them.
Yeah, I think Steve and I learned a ton from each other, you know.
I'm encouraging you as a listener to step up as mentors or family members. Age doesn't matter. Anyone can give. Mentorship does not have to be formal. That's important too. Sometimes it's simply just showing up, encouraging, and listening. There's a really cool mentorship program, here at HSE schools.
Yeah, Liz does that.
Yeah. And you just once a week, just show up.
And she's been doing it for quite a while. And I mean, she just has nothing but good things to say about it. And it has been such a wonderful thing for her to do. She's gotten gotten great stuff out of it, as well as the student.
Bill Gates' father wrote a book about his life and different things. And one of the first chapters was about showing up. And the example that he used of showing up was his scoutmaster. Every Monday night, he was there. Every weekend they went camping, he was there. And
as a scout mom, I can tell you that doing it every week, it used to be at our house every week.
But it
ain't easy and it ain't fun every time.
But the whole point is,
you
may not remember what happened in the meeting, but you remember that person was there.
Right.
And that's the thing about being consistent. Just show up. Okay. 3 more and we're done, and we still have 4 minutes to go here. So, creating traditions. Suggest creating new family traditions that include non-biological family so everyone feels that they belong. Holiday meals. We do that at Thanksgiving. We always invite somebody in that's not really part of our family. Birthday shout-outs, joint road trips, or even family meetings. Our joint road trips, like when Sam joins us and goes with us.
So fun.
She feels like she does feel like she's just part of our family.
Yeah.
Karis wants to go, but some of the activities that we do, they're really loud and with lots of people. She's not a fan of. But if we went on a quiet trip with horses, she'd probably be happy.
Yeah. She really wants to go to Nashville, though.
Does she? Okay.
Yeah.
So faith and purpose. If you're comfortable, reflect on how faith or purpose calls us to hospitality, generosity, and to care for the lonely. Scripture that comes to mind is the widows and the orphans that are among us. And, obviously, we don't have to go into faith talk, but yeah, Jesus wants us to include other people. Jesus would want us to love on the unloved and to do that and pour out everything that he's given us. And the funny thing is about, people of faith, the more you pour out, the more you get back in.
That's right.
And the last one, I'm going to leave you with a challenge and challenge you, all 1,000,002 of you out there, to identify one person this week to invite in. Just be open to it. You may not, right now, that thought may come to your head and go, oh, no, who I'm going to reach out to. Or it just may be somebody you meet this next week or see at church.
Although
my whole thing is identify one person this week to invite in, whether to dinner or to an event or even just a walk or a coffee. Yes, Suzanne, what are you saying?
One Christmas Eve, we were really focused on inviting.
We weren't. I was.
We were really focused on inviting people that we didn't know into.
I met a guy at a bar.
It's
nice
so
guy.
bad.
I said, what are you doing for Christmas? Nothing. Why don't you come over to our house for Christmas Eve?
We
dinner,
did
come to
not
my
know
church.
this man from Adam.
Well, he was a nice guy.
You met at a bar.
I know, and he had borrowed someone in his car to come across the county line to our bar. He wasn't from our
was
county.
So bad.
Anyway, let's just say when he left, everybody in the house was worried that when we came back from church, our presents wouldn't be here. Because he took all the leftovers.
So
and
bad.
then when we saw his
he
car.
was over an hour late.
He was, but then we found out he was living in his car.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Anyway, you can say it was bad. Hopefully we changed his life.
Think long and hard. Don't just run into somebody at the supermarket and go, hey,
I don't know, maybe.
Come on over.
I did what I thought
maybe
was right.
think a little bit about it.
So anyway, thanks, Suzanne, for remembering that wonderful experience. But
You've been super chatty. I haven't had any stories of this whole podcast.
Do you have any good stories you want to tell us?
Well, we're done now.
We're kind of almost done. We're almost at an hour. You don't have to legally adopt someone to change their life or to reshape your own. Family can start with an invitation. Suzanne, you want to sing us a song?
No, thank you.
Who could you welcome to your table this week? Who would you invite? Okay, who would you invite?
My table is full right now, my friend.
It is?
My table is full. I'm pulling up extra chairs. We're good.
All right. Well, join us next time on the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. First off, thanks for joining us. I hope you have a family. If you don't, come join us. You can be a steward.
We don't throw that out lightly, though.
We don't throw it out lightly, but we'd love to have you. Join us on the next episode of the Marry Your Best Friend podcast, where one of us wants to stay in bed all day.
Oh, please. I'm ready to go to bed right now. Love you.